It's a chilly day here in the southern mountains of Appalachia. Me and Matt, we just ate some dinner. We've come back outside to work. We've already got a lot done this morning. We moved several loads of wood into the basement. That was nice to restock the wood pile, especially when you have extra help on hand. We also did a lot of major rearranging to Katie's, what she calls her dungeon, but really is in the basement, her shop. So we did some major kind of rearranging her shop so that it would help her, so that she would be more efficient. She had some different things she wants to try just to make it more streamlined, so we all worked together to get that done. So we've already had a really productive day. Matt's went to get the four-wheeler and attach the wagon. He's going to come up here and we're going to start moving rocks. So when we say move rocks, when Thomas was able to scoop us out a place for our raised beds that we're going to do up there, kind of terraced in there, our bank is mostly rock. So that's why we talk about rocks. If you can see down here, this is just a rock pile where he dug out, because that's what it mostly is rock. When you look at how the rocks, you can even see like where the tines of his bucket really had to scrape into the rocks. It's a wonder anything grows on the bank, much less all the stuff that was on it. I mean, it's a wonder anything would grow on there. So this is what now we'll get to clean up. Over the years, when Matt and I first moved in, of course, the bank was much closer to the house. We barely had any room back here. And the first year or two this happened, like it just freezing and thawing before there was anything growing on the bank. Rocks would roll down and we'd have to go through and pick them up. And then 3 or 4 weeks later, we'd have to do it again. But finally, over the years, it settled down. But because we've disturbed it, now we'll have that again right here for a little bit. And one of the reasons, like you may be wondering, well, why did he make the bed so up high like that? Why not down low? Again, our house, the proximity of our house to the bank, that his bucket, his arm, is that what you call it, Matt? His boom, yeah, there was only so much room between for him to maneuver, so that's really just the best he could do. It would have been better, of course, if we had it down low, and we could do that. Matt could do that, right? With back-breaking labor, yeah. with a mattock, you know. So anyway, this is what we got, and it's going to be good. We're really excited about it. It's going to take a lot of work, though. He did Thomas with his machine did the brute force labor, but there'll still be lots of labor for us to do too. So now we're gonna see how many of these rocks we can haul out of here. We got the worst of this first little bed here. There's another one that he made on the other side, but it's not as rocky over there, so there's not as many rocks. We will likely need to clean some around it though. Of course, we've still got to build the bed too. But some of these rocks that we left, it's so cold today. It was down in the low 20s this morning, and this is in the part of the yard that the sun doesn't shine much, so they're still frozen. Mine and Matt's hands are already frozen too. So we're just gonna leave those. Once they thaw up, gravity will take over and they'll fall down eventually too, but we're just gonna move on down to the next bed. So we're making good progress, especially since we got down here in the sunshine and it's a little bit warmer. But you can see the frost that's grew out of the ground overnight with the heavy frost that we had. Some people call it, is it called hoar frost? And then there's that wonderful ribbon frost that I've never seen, only in pictures, that actually looks like ribbons. Early this morning, every bed that he dug out for us was filled with that frost. But as the day has warmed up, it's began to melt in most of them, except that one in the back where the sun really don't shine this time of the year. So we made a lot of progress. That's a chore that we'll have to keep doing over and over as the rocks thaw and fall until it kind of settles down for good. Like by next year, there won't be as much of that, and by the next year, there'll be none of it. So it's just a process. But a lot of people are probably wondering, well, all those wonderful rocks, why does Katie not want them? Why are we throwing them off the bank? And it's because, unfortunately, they're not the kind of rocks that Katie would use. They're very brittle.
I call those trash rocks. Riff-raff. It wouldn't even good for riff-raff because they break when you drive over them.
There's some kind of like...
I think it's probably like a low-grade metamorphic type, like shale or slate. I mean, don't quote me. I just don't know that for sure. Yeah. But it's just, whatever it is, it's got a really loose grain type of structure to where they fall apart. It's not something that would cut and polish. There is little to no silica content within these rocks, which means they're not useful for me. And like I said, they wouldn't even hardly be useful for riffraff or anything. They'd break when you drove over them.
Yeah, they break over. So unfortunately, there's not much use for them, and that's what the entire bank is made out of.
Yeah. Now there may be some quartz in there. I wouldn't be surprised to find out if you start digging. But as far as like,
I wonder what's that one? Is that something different? There's the one. I don't know if you can. You see it on there?
Your head, I think, is. There it is.
There it is. That big rock.
I mean, it's just some of the same material as the rest of this. It's just a little bit tougher of a version, and it's just it just goes deeper down.
When they were grading the bank originally, they tried to get that rock out, and they tried, and they couldn't, and finally we said we don't care. I mean, we didn't want them to blast it out, so it's there, and Corey and Katie and April used to play on it.
We did. We'd sit on it, and then for a little while we'd throw kitchen grease on it and call it the grease rock. That's why the top of it's a little bit darker. Is why.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, it just depends. I'm sure I could find something to cut, like some sort of quartz in there.
But it's mostly too crumbly, and you'd be wasting your time.
It's just not.
The rocks you cut are really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Super, super hard. Because they have a really high silica content. There's no silica content here, which is why I say it would have to be some sort of extremely low-grade metamorphic rock, even if it's a metamorphic rock at all. Katie don't know, to truth be told. I know a lot about rocks, but I don't know nothing about these bank rocks, and I don't care about these bank rocks. They're just in my way.
Not your expertise.
Yeah.
These beds on this side will be easier to reach. I don't even know that we'd build steps to them, because if you can see this, like this one right here and all the ones down through there, you can kind of just start out sideways on the bank and just walk right into it. So it's not going to be as much problem reaching them as the ones on further back where the bank's steeper. These, you could kind of just come out of the driveway and walk right through them. Or right to them. You could walk through them if you wanted to, but you'd be walking right up to them. And we might make like a little pathway there eventually. Or in the nature of feet, our feet may make them. I've always found that fascinating, the paths, like, around your house you probably got some paths like that. Maybe whether it's from your front yard to your backyard. For us, it's like to the chicken lot and to the greenhouse. There's a trail down to Granny's where just over and over and over feet walking makes those paths, which I've always found really fascinating. And I've read and seen that you can actually see some of those paths from above, like like foot traffic, like cattle trails and stuff. And especially in cities where instead of, maybe because people that walk every day, they realize there's shortcuts this way or this way, and so instead of going on the sidewalk, they take those shortcuts, and then even those become well-worn paths. So that may be the route we take with these beds on this side. So we've come back here in the backyard. We've given up on the rocks for today, but you can see this long one that he made right up there is a pretty long one. That one just kind of butts up to the blackberries, so that one will be really nice. And while he didn't make any on that side, I think that what he did, cleaning all that off, will really benefit where Matt and I made one last year, if you remember, on the back side of the greenhouse. So now it'd be much easier for us to get to that bed and actually work on improving it year after year. We've had so much rain, and then we've had freeze and thaw. So it's such a muddy mess. It's a muddy mess everywhere. And then having construction work done like we've had, you can't help it. Those big machines, they mess up the ground. They turn it over without even meaning to. So it is a soupy mess back here. You can't walk back here without squishing in the mud. But while we're back here, we are going to go ahead and put out the lime on the rest of the raised beds. We didn't do that if you remember a few weeks ago, we limed all the front area really well and Matt tilled it in. So today we're going to concentrate on these and get that job done, and then that'll be over with for at least a few more years, if not several.
I have some poppies and I'm gonna plant them because you need to plant them when it'll still be a little bit cold for them.
Well, yeah, we learned that last year. Me and Katie's tried to plant poppies, and really the only way we've ever planted them is by accident. We didn't even know we did. But last year, I watched a video, I'll try to find it and link to it below, where a lady said the easiest way she'd found to plant poppies with good success was to take them out in the winter. In her situation, she even had snow on the ground, and literally throw them down. So me and Katie did that last winter, and it worked. Yeah. Worked.
Yeah, so now we're going to do it again.
So we're going to do it again. So this is a really pretty, show the thing, and Michelle Howard, I think, Katie's it say on there, Michelle Howard sent those to us. So many people have sent us seeds, and we're so grateful. We're so grateful. We love them. So Katie's going to throw these down in this flower bed just right outside.
Just throw them down.
Yeah. Wherever you want to. I would probably put them towards the back, but this is the flower bed right under my kitchen window. You can see some daffodils coming up there. So Katie's just going to toss them down.
And just in case, I know that you really just toss them down, but just in case.
No, toss them down.
Come on, Mama, just in case.
Katie's being paranoid. Toss them down. Just toss them.
We're going to do that. Make sure.
Well, I think you could just toss them.
Toss
sure some right in here in this area. Toss the whole pack.
Toss the whole pack?
Yeah, toss the whole pack. Yeah, there you go.
All of them will come out here and they'll get caught in their big feet.
Maybe not. As much rain as we've had, it's probably going to rain and it'll soak them, push them down. Yeah. All right, Katie. Thanks for planting them.
Yeah.
I know we've got some more. Katie's got some special pink ones she wants to plant.
I have to find them. I don't know where they're at. Got them.
Matt says I've given him a blood clot popsicle again.
It looks like a used trauma kit.
Well, you don't like peach, and so that was all there was.
I really don't care how nice it looks.
Still tastes really good.
Yeah.
Except it's way too cold for a popsicle. I don't really know why we're eating them.
No such thing.
And I don't know why it's... Our camera's trying to focus funny. Well, we got a lot of stuff done today. We've been going all day long. You wore out?
Yes, I am.
It feels so satisfying though to actually get a lot of stuff done, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Makes you sleep good.
Makes you snore good.
Makes me snore. Being outside really does something for you too, the fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
Just that satisfaction from work, from hard work, it's just hard to beat, ain't it?
You say so.
Or you do it every day.
I know.
I mean, would you rather sit behind a desk?
No.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I mean, I've done some hard days of work sitting behind a desk. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But it's some kind of real satisfaction that comes with actually using your hands and your body and moving. And there's nothing wrong with sitting behind a desk. I've done that for many, many years, and I still do that a lot. But it's just really satisfying to actually do stuff by the sweat of your brow. Yeah.
Yep.
It's good for you.
It's very good for you.
Yeah.
Keeps you limber.
Yeah. can see behind us, our bank, it looks so good. And even though we'll have to pick up rocks several more times, even what we got today made it look even better, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It helped a whole lot.
Yeah. You'll be amazed, and we will too. You don't really notice it, or we don't, because it happens gradually. But by the end of the summer, how much has grown back on the bank. Because the thing is, he didn't pull all of them up by the roots, so a lot of the trees and the bushes and the little saplings are still there, so their roots are still there, so they're going to pop right back out.
Main thing is get the pines off of it, and that's what we did.
Yeah, because they grow so fast. So Matt's had a couple of ideas about what kind of beds to actually put up there on the little shelf areas. One thing is we could buy some like ready-made ones, but they're pretty expensive. We could get the logs out of the woods like we've done in the past, but that's such a tremendous amount of work.
Yep.
Yeah. And since we just had our roof redone and have all that metal, Matt's trying to think of a way to use the metal in making the beds. So he's got a couple of different ways he thinks he might do it, but we're not there yet. We're not ready to do them. I hope we'll get them built. You think we'll get them built this year? Maybe.
I know we'll get some of them built. I'd like to get them all done.
Yeah.
It's just getting the time to.
Yeah.
And the energy.
And the energy, yeah. It's really cold today, but next week I seen we're forecast to be up in the 60s, maybe even hit 70 one day.
I seen one day it said 75. It'll be hard to go to work that day.
Yeah. If it reaches that, I mean, those warm temperatures will really make stuff bud out next week.
Yeah, that's not good this early.
No. Because then you run the risk of, we'll definitely have more freezes between now and usually about May 3rd, something like that. Then we're pretty safe after that.
Yeah, sometimes
no frost.
Sometimes it don't frost up that far, but the threat's
But
always
sometimes
there.
it does, yeah. So we'll definitely have some more cold weather. Granny keeps telling me it may snow, and someone left a comment that said that March is forecasted to be cold and snowy for western North Carolina, so it might. We'll see. Every once in a while you have a weird weather phenomenon happen. I remember one time when I still worked at Lake Logan when I was in Canton, me and Matt dated, it snowed, a big snow in May.
May 6th.
Yeah, it was gone quickly, but it snowed, a big, heavy, wet snow, and I was at work and you could just hear the trees, the timber in the woods breaking because it's such a heavy snow. I guess by that evening or the next morning it was gone, but it was just fast and furious and then gone. And Pap told me he could remember being a little bitty boy and him and his mother being in the garden, working in the garden and with stuff growing, and it snowed. Not a big snow, but that it was just a strange day, and they had a little fire built because it was that chilly to stay warm. It was strange. And that it snowed, and he said he would never forget that. And he said everybody really, wondered about it and wondered if it was like a sign of the end of the times coming and different things like that. But so sometimes you get those strange times. 3 or 4 years ago, or maybe more than that, as fast as time goes by, I remember I wrote about it on the Blind Pig and the Acorns when I really remember. It was cold in July. Do you remember that? Like a morning that you just got up and it was like a spring or fall morning.
Yep.
So. sometimes you have those weird occurrences like that. But typically by about May 3rd, we feel safe to plant. It's really tempting to go ahead and plant stuff. And then you can play the kind of the game with yourself of, well, if I plant it and it takes 7 days to sprout, will I be right in that window? Sometimes we do that.
Well, the thing about it, in my experience, the stuff's not going to get going good until the ground gets the right temperature anyway,
Yeah.
so there's no point.
In hurrying it, yeah.
Right. When the ground gets the correct temperature to get the seeds to germinate, and that's the way it was intended to be, and it's got to get a certain time in the year for that to happen, and
Right.
Frost or no frost.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we always wait till after the first week of May to plant
Yeah.
most everything we've got, other than potatoes and
Yeah, the spring
greens
stuff,
and that sort of thing.
right, and radishes and onions and
but tomatoes,
cabbage
and
and all the
squash
stuff.
and all that.
Yeah,
we just wait till 6th, 8th, 10th of May to put them in the ground.
And that's what Pap always did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's just common sense to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. There has been times though, like those weird weather things where I've made Matt run around with me trying to protect flowers and different things, cover them with 5-gallon buckets and things like that, where everything's bloomed out and budded out. Seems like I've got pictures somewhere where it snowed and there's on the blooms just a little light skiff of snow. So you can't always, I guess whether you're a gardener or a farmer, you're always fighting the weather.
Can't fight the weather.
Yeah.
It's
Or
gonna-
trying to predict it.
Yeah, it's just going to do what it's going to do.
Yeah.
I'd always hated just to have a real bad thunderstorm and you got corn head high and it'd blow it down.
Oh, that's miserable.
That is sickening.
Yeah.
But it happens, and it
Yeah.
happens every year.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Right. And it's happened to us before, and there's just, usually there's just no use to even try to mess with it. It'll either raise back up or it won't.
Right.
Most time it won't.
Right.
Yeah, but that's really heartbreaking. Yeah. We don't have to worry about that now.
I know,
We got
sadly.
nowhere to plant corn.
I wish we did.
We
I
worry.
miss it.
Yeah, I miss it too. We worry about it when we drive down the road and see Farmer Tim's if his is blown down, because we know we're going to be eating some of his, so we don't want his to blow down either. We don't want nobody's to blow down, but we worry about his because he shares with us. So it'd be good to have some good fresh silver queen right now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
And a tomato and a cucumber and a cake of cornbread. That'd be enough.
Pan of side meat.
Yeah, Matt wants some side meat with it. Right now we're living in the land of mud, though.
Yeah.
This is the muddy time of the year anyway. But especially having the grading work done is really muddy. But it's always muddy.
And then it goes from mud to dust.
Yeah.
It'll turn off dry and hot.
Yeah.
And then it's just dusty dry.
And this is not as bad as some years, though. There's been a few years with our driveway where it's just like, okay, we're going mud, and anytime you go down it or up it, and you're just like sliding, sliding. Worse going down than coming up. Coming up, usually it's not as bad. I didn't ever think. It's going down when you're taking your, because you ain't got no speed because you're putting the brakes on. But yeah, there's been a few winters that it just from when it would thaw and freeze, it would just get soupy mess, wouldn't it?
Hashtag mountain life.
Yeah, hashtag mountain life when we have to walk in and out. Who come up with that, you or Katie or Corey
They
or
did. I
something?
mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they saw it somewhere, and it's just I always thought it's funny.
Yeah, one year when it did snow and it kind of stayed on the ground for a while, especially here on the north side, and it was a pretty good snow, we had to walk in and out for several days, and on down through the settlement, the snow's gone and the roads are open and all that. But our driveway's pretty steep and gets pretty slick, and if it stays cold, then it don't thaw out. So we were having to walk. I think Corey and Katie's in about 8th grade. We were having to walk back and forth and carry stuff. And one day when we were frustrated by it, Katie said, hashtag mountain life. So ever since then, we all joke, hashtag mountain life.
Yeah.
Not that we really have it that hard
No.
at all. It's just a family joke now. Whenever somebody does struggle with something like the mud, we say hashtag mountain life.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not really living that rustic or that rough.
No.
You just know this time of the year, if you're gonna be outside or walk outside, you better wear shoes or boots that you don't care. I lost one of my gloves, that you don't care to get mud all over.
Mm-hmm.
I guess when you was young, you like for it to be muddy, because you probably like to get out and ride your bike in it, or your motorcycle, or drive Papa's Jeep or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and spin around.
Mm-hmm. I did.
Yeah.
I don't like it like that now.
Yeah. When me and Matt was first married, our road was gravel. It was gravel all the way till girls was probably in what, 4 or 5 years old or something like that.
Yeah, and it was a mile
Yeah.
to the paved road.
So sometimes it would get like that,
Right.
especially in certain places.
I wish
And-
it was still that way.
Yeah. But Matt sometimes we'd be coming home or going somewhere, and he'd start doing that, and I'd get mad every time, because it'd scare me. And he'd start spinning the tires and sliding around, and I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it would get really bad too. In years past, I remember I was, before I ever met Matt, I was in high school. I was working at Cato's, so I had to wear had to dress up, and I think it was a Sunday too, so I had a dress on. And then when I come home, right there at Clayton Mary's with that kind of little steep hill, it was just, for whatever reason that year, it got so bad. It was just really rutted, and I got stuck. I couldn't do nothing. And well, of course, in those days you didn't have cell phones or anything. So I sat there for a little bit, hoping somebody would come by and they'd pick me up, and I finally thought, well, gosh, I can't sit here all day. So I just took my high heels off. I had no other clothes, and walked home. And Granny thought that was so funny. She just laughed and laughed and laughed. I think she kind of thought she was being mischievous. She thought it served me right somehow. I don't know. Maybe she thought I was being too prissy or something. Then I had to walk home in the mud, and
Yeah.
Pap had to go back with his truck and pull my car out. A long time ago, though.
Mm-hmm. It's back when he was a calf.
Yeah, back when I was a calf. So we don't have to worry about that no more, of course, with pavement. But the change in the, I don't know, it's been since Matt's been here, changing if it's terrain or water or what, but the flow of the water, there's 2 places now, down there that water, when it rains, goes across the road. It's eating the road away, and it never done that before.
No.
I don't know what's changed about it
I think there's a spring in the field
that come
that
up.
just come up and started running, and
Yeah.
it runs down and runs across,
Yeah.
and the ditch is filled up, and it runs out into the
Yeah,
paved road.
it's just a whole.
Just keeps the road wet all the time.
Yeah, just especially when it's like it's been raining, like in the last week.
Mhm.
It washes stuff out in the road, and I don't know. The state will eventually have to put a culvert or something under it.
Yeah.
Or it's just eating the sides of the roads away down through there. It's just formed a little creek. When I went out the other morning, it was like that. What day was that? Friday morning? It was like that. And I was driving down through there thinking, now if I was a little kid, what I'd like to do, because it's on the pavement, just like a little river running, I thought I'd love to come down here and play in this. And you just have that long stretch to play in. You could go around the curve and go down through there. I loved to play in water when I was little. So every time I see stuff like that, I think I'd like to, if I was a little kid, I'd just set me up a little play shop right there, playhouse, and that's where I'd play. You come home one day, I'll be down there playing in it.
Yeah, I'll drive right on by you.
You wouldn't stop and
Yeah.
play with me.
Mm-mm.
Put some little leaves in it and watch them float along.
Yeah.
I ought to be happy. I've got like basically a lake in the backyard most of the time to play in.
Yeah, right.
A muddy mess. I loved to make mud pies when I was little too, so this would have been right up I'd had a permanent mud factory back here. Corey and Katie used to make mud pies, and then they'd make me and Matt come out and pretend that we'd eat them.
Yeah.
They'd fix us a whole course on their little pink table, and we'd have to come out and sit in the little chairs and pretend like we was eating what they'd fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the sun's hitting us right here. It feels pretty warm.
Mm-hmm.
The sun's going to set, but as it goes through the trees, now it's shining on us. Don't seem too cold for a popsicle now. I was freezing. It's amazing what sunshine can do for you.
Yep.
When me and Matt was picking up the rocks, that first bed we started on, both of us, our hands was so cold because the rocks basically had ice on them. And then as we moved down, then we both had to take our coats off because we got hot.
Mm-hmm.
Sunshine's an amazing thing. Amazing the warmth from it. Of course, amazing what it does for your plants and all that kind of stuff, but what it does for your spirit too. Matt might argue with that though on a hot July day.
Yeah. When we was putting those windows in, it was misery.
Oh, it was hot. But Betty, they've been nice this winter.
Yeah, they have.
They've been nice. Yeah. Nice, and we're so excited. We got the house stained, got the roof fixed, things we've needed to do for a long time, and now we got the bank cleared off and got those new beds. We're feeling like we're really accomplishing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Or really just getting caught up to where we should be.
Yeah.
Mostly, yeah.
Yep.
I think that's common for a lot of people though. You get stuck in the, if you're raising kids, and there's constant expense if you have kids, from, just school stuff to braces to wisdom teeth to all those things, college, all those different things. And then when you kind of get out from under all that, then you're like, hey, we have the money now finally to stain the house or fix the roof or whatever. I think it seems like a lot of people kind of do that, people that are like us that stay in the same house for a long time.
Yep.
Well, we sure are pleased with everything we got done today, and we sure are pleased that you stopped by to help us celebrate Appalachia. We hope you'll continue to do that in the coming weeks with all this tease of warm weather we're getting. I know me and Matt will be out working hard to make a garden to feed our family. We've got too much sunshine.
No, I don't.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, are you done?
Yeah, maybe we could have held up one of those big rocks. And
Okay, I'm out.
oh gosh, I'm out, but I can't get up. Now I realized how tired I am.
What do you want these?
I'll carry them back down there.